What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Everyday Sports Mania. In today's video, I'm going to be making a video on the New England Patriots and why the New England Patriots disrespect needs to stop. And many people are saying the New England Patriots era is over. Oh, they're now a 6-10, 7-9 missed playoff team. Oh, the New England Patriots are awful. And the reason why I'm making a video on this is because recently people aren't recognizing the fact that the Patriots are probably the most improved team in the NFL, and people will say that they overpaid for their big play free agents like Matthew Judon and Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, but I somewhat disagree. And I hope you guys enjoy the video, and if you do, leave a like on it, comment, and subscribe, and let's get into the video. First, I want to go over Cam Newton, and Cam Newton isn't ideal. I mean, Cam Newton, as you see in a stat line, didn't have the greatest of seasons as he threw over 2,600 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions with 82.9 as a QB rating. Cam Newton wasn't ideal, and Cam Newton looked very washed this season, if you ask me myself. As a Patriots fan, he looked very washed. Even only in the passing category. I think in the running category, he was very good. And I think if you look at Cam Newton's statistics, many forget the fact that he got coronavirus, which lingered around him for multiple weeks, and it took him about 6 weeks to really get his game back together. As towards the end of the season, he went on a 5-0 touchdown to interception ratio run, and he started to do well but the Patriots still weren't winning games because they had a bad defense and their receivers weren't great, so they were one-dimensional around the run game. The New England Patriots, I don't think were great this season, but if you consider their team, let's go over their team. So in 2020, we'll do 2020 versus 2021. In 2020, their running back game was Damian Harris, Sony Michel, James White, and Rex Burkhead. It's the same this year. The quarterback, same as last year. And now, receivers. In 2020, they had Julian Edelman, who was hurt most of the season, Jacoby Myers, Damiere Byrd, N'Keal Harry, and Gunnar Olszewski. In 2021, they have Nelson Agholor, Jacoby Myers, Damiere Byrd, Kendrick Bourne, and, of course, still Julian Edelman. So I think it's a much improved receiving game because Nelson Agholor and Kendrick Bourne are both fast receivers who can play in the slot. And then in tight ends, Patriots, they added Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, which I think is huge, and Cam Newton needs a red zone threat. He doesn't have a red zone threat, and his really only red zone threat was Julian Edelman because Jacoby Myers wasn't able to get into the end zone this season. So they need a red zone threat, and I think Henry and Jonnu Smith will be very good. And now let's go over the offensive line. They added Trent Brown. They lost Joe Thuney. So Trent Brown will play a tackle. Owenu will play a guard. I think it's a much improved offense, and now let's get to the defense. On the defensive side of the ball, they added a lot of new free agents. And as we know in 2020, as some of us know, the Patriots lost to talent. They lost Ron Harmon, Danny Shelton, and Jamie Collins, all to the Detroit Lions, Kyle Van Noy to the Miami Dolphins. He added in the fact they lost Dante Hightower and Patrick Chung to opt-outs, so that really they were dependent on the draft and these young rookies and different players on the defense to fill in at different positions, and it was a mess. I mean, they didn't really have a linebacker core, but you look at this year, they brought back the veteran Kyle Van Noy, they brought in Matthew Judon, and they have Dante Hightower back. I say that's a top 10 linebacker core in the NFL. They also brought in some great run stoppers in Montravius Adams, Davion Godchaux, and Henry Anderson, who will all be great. Don't forget they brought in Raekwon McMillan to add on to the linebacker core, and they brought in Jalen Mills in the secondary, who will play as either a corner or a safety, maybe to fill in Patrick Chung's spot. Sadly, he retired, but I think the defense is much improved as well. And now it brings us to Cam Newton. And Cam Newton is the most important part on this team, because if Cam Newton doesn't do well, this team may be a playoff team, but it won't be a real contender. It will be a team like the 2020 Chicago Bears, who depended on another team to lose for them to get into the playoffs. They will be an 8-8, 9-7 snub playoff team if Cam Newton can't do well. And we need Cam Newton to do well because Cam Newton's really the core of the offense. If Cam Newton does well, the receivers will do well. If Cam Newton does well, the defense will do well. Cam Newton does well, the running game will do well. And Cam Newton, it's up to Cam Newton's arm. And if Cam Newton can get healthy in the offseason, recover from COVID, and then, of course, he has better weapons this year. And, of course, the biggest thing, learn the playbook. He only had about 2.5 months to learn the playbook last year. But if if all of that can happen, I'm pretty much 100% sure that Cam Newton will be at least a little bit better than he was last year. With COVID-free, he knows the playbook, and better weapons. Now, I don't expect anything crazy from Cam Newton, but I expect about 3,000 yards, maybe like 3,200 yards, possibly around 19-20 touchdowns to only about 9 to 10 interceptions, which I think is very easy for him to do, consider now he has those red zone targets that he hasn't had. And you put in the fact that he will be COVID-free, hopefully injury-free, and then he will know the playbook a bit better. And we all saw what Cam Newton did in the run game last year. He led quarterbacks in rushing touchdowns with 12, which was very good considering he missed the game this season. But Cam Newton, we all know what he can do in the running game. It's up to his arm. And if Cam Newton doesn't do well and he plays like he did last year, I think this is an 8-8, 9-7, possibly a fringe playoff team. If he can do well in the pass and attack, I say it's a 10-6, maybe 11-5. Playoff team that could possibly be a contender. Many forget that the Patriots had possibly the greatest head coach of all time in Bill Belichick. And Bill Belichick is a true mastermind in the NFL. We all saw him work his magic in free agency. We don't know what he will do in the draft. We're hoping that he can make some big moves, possibly trade up to pick 4 or 5, and maybe go after a guy like Justin Fields or Trey Lance to sit behind Cam Newton for a few weeks. And if Cam Newton is atrocious like last year, bench Cam, put in the rookie. If Cam does well, sit the rookie for the year, play him next year. And I think it's really up to Cam Newton, and I'm hoping that the draft goes well for the New England Patriots because the Patriots haven't been good in the draft. The only good draft pick I would say they've had in the past 3 years has been the Michael Owenu 6th round steal of the 2020 draft. And really, it's going to come down to if the Patriots can perform at a high level and can they perform at high expectations, because they had a lot of high expectations going into this season, and they were 2-1, possibly a playoff contender until Cam Newton got COVID. And after Cam Newton got COVID, the team fell off a cliff, and I believe they only won a few games. They only won 5 games after Cam got COVID. But tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you think the Patriots will be a good team? Do you think is their era over? Is the dynasty over? Or will they be back and give it a year? But tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. I'll see you guys in the next one. And if you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace.